Howdy. Hey, today I want to chat about everything that flows through my mind when I think about Maya Angelou's quote, when people show you who they are. What choice do we have but to believe them, right? Now, there's a lot of different ways to interpret this quote, and I need to look this up, but I think her actual quote may have been, when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. I need to look that up because I can't get behind that, because I don't believe any of us are our mistakes, because we all make them. I believe we are more so what we do after our mistake. Do we own it? Do we atone for it? Do we learn from it? Do we work hard not to make it again? So I don't know about that first time. If anybody's on and can look that up for me, if that's part of her actual quote, I need to look that up. Anyway, something on my mind has to do with a piece I wrote. I wrote it a while back, but I reshared it on International Women's Day. And it was about the sisterhood and how this life takes a sisterhood. It's always going to take a sisterhood. And in that sisterhood, there is so much more that sames us. So much more that brings us together in similarity and camaraderie and sisterhood than will ever separate us. And in the piece I wrote about me, about who I am as a person. And I wrote a lot of things that I know everybody will nod their head to because you're the same. And then I wrote some things that I know I'm probably weird and wonky in, and that you're not going to feel the same. But my point was, there's so much more that sames us, twins us, cousins us, relates us, than will ever separate us. And I wrote, one of the things I wrote is, I just can't with politics. 5 words, probably it was a full sentence. And I would have to explain that to you, right? To tell you what that means in full, because I vote, I call my congressman. There are some things I do, but I don't think of myself as a political person. It's not my main gig. It's not something I have a lot of energy or time for in my life at this juncture. So I wrote that. I wrote, I just can't with politics. And had a gal respond to me, to the whole post that was all about sisterhood and saming and how we're so much better together than separate. She wrote, "You lost me at I just can't with politics." And so I responded, "Bye. That's it. Later, skater. Catch you never." Okay. If that's your takeaway from that piece, if you're going to respond to a piece on sisterhood and sameness and how we get through this life better when we tribe it up, that you just can't with me because we're different in one way, bye. She showed me who she was. I believe her. Asta. But here's what I want to talk about with that. It's really hard to reconcile what I'm over here preaching, shouting from the rooftops. Love at all costs. It's always going to win. It's always the right choice. It's the hard one. It's the hard choice, but it's always right. It's the way, the truth, and the light. But it's really hard to love people who don't want to be loved, who don't want to accept that love, who want to push it away, and who don't want to be on board. Hey, Celeste. So with those folks, my version of love and kindness is bye. As opposed to a lot of other things I could say and do. And I think that counts, right? Because we can't win them all. We're not meant to. The world is not structured and organized that way. There's always going to be dissent and hatred and yuck and grossness here. This is not our permanent home. But it reminds me of the allegory, the tale with the little girl and the turtles. Let me see if I can retell it well. So the baby turtles are hatched and they're trying so hard to make it into the ocean and live their turtle lives and catch a ride on the EAC with Crush and Squirt. but they have a very limited amount of time to do that. And then there's birds of prey and all these dangers and crabs, and not a lot of the turtles, the baby turtles, make it into the ocean. And so somebody happened upon a little girl that was picking up turtles and throwing them one by one into the ocean so she could help. And the person said to her, "Why are you wasting your time? You can't save them all." And she responded, "Well, yeah, I know that. I can't save them all, but I can save this one, and this one, and this one," right? That's all we can do. All we can do is show up in the world as we are. Be willing to be vulnerable and tell our story and tell our truth and work for the greater good the best way we know how, with the voice we were given, with the pain we were dealt, once we've found a way to morph it into purpose. And that's all we can do. And when people come up and say, "No, I don't like what you're doing, you're not for me." Okay, well, you're just a turtle that I can't save. Sorry about it. Not. That's all. Whatever your gig is, however you are trying to be the change, just take the detractors for what they are, which is not for you. Just put your blinders on. Full steam ahead at the speed of you. Do your thing. Thanks, Celeste. Celeste said that's a great analogy. I love that story. I love it so much. We cannot save them all. We can't save the world. We can only do good work where we're at in our own lives. Andrea, hey. And that's it. Trying to save the turtles that don't want to be saved, right? Yeah. I can get really sad about these folks, because it truly does make me sad that in response to a piece about togetherness and unity and sisterhood, somebody's only response is, "No, can't do that." Like, that just really makes me sad, but I have to move on. I just do. I can't wallow over the one that doesn't want to be saved. I just can't. So, yeah, I just can't with politics either. It's not my gig right now. Not when I'm just trying to survive and save my family and be loved the best way I know how. I can't add politics onto that right now. And if that upsets anybody, okay, bye. That's all I got. Love you, peeps, all you turtles, so much. Have a great day.